Okay, there's going to be another Werewolf the Apocalypse LARP video. This one's going to focus on Galliards. Yeah, I know it's been about a week since I did my Arun one, but I got a little bit busy, and I know I've been a little bit slacking here. But let's talk about Galliards, or Moonsingers, or Tail Spinners, or Battle Dancers, or Scalds, whatever you want to call them. If I had to take one term for them that I think I like the best, it's going to be lore keepers, or lore masters. For some reason, and I blame this on Vampire, everybody thinks of the Galliards as the artsy-fartsy types. They are the Toreador of the werewolves. That's not true. They're the second best fighter auspice out there. And, yes, performance is a big thing for them, but it's more about the tales and the oral history of the werewolves. It's about handing that down. The performance is a tool. How do they get it across? Some can do it with a very monotone Ben Stein approach. Others will do it in other styles. Doesn't mean it's totally oral. Sometimes they're going to be written, or they're going to be carved with Guru glyphs into stone, caves, sometimes wood, you name it. So, what does it mean to be a Galliard? Well, a lot of it's determined by the tribe itself. Bonar Galliards tend to be the ones who will be telling the odd tale in the middle of winter in Detroit around a burning garbage can. Black Fury, Galliards will do a lot of pomp and circumstance as they tell a tale handed down from generation to generation at a tribal or regional moot. Children of Gaia, hell, a lot of times they're going to be passing around the herbs, and the story is just going to kind of come out from the Child of Gaia standpoint, sometimes with a lot of giggling. Fianna, there's a myriad of ways that they like to do it. Some will sing the tales, some will dance them out. They are probably the tribe that's most likely to use tales by the firelight, or shadows by the firelight. Wow. I played a Galliard too long and I actually screwed that up. Yay. Limericks, hell, sometimes they will tell them via the boasting and insult contest almost. Get Fenris, they're going to tell the gruff heroic tales, usually over a pint of mead. Glasswalkers, hell, sometimes they'll do it almost like a boardroom report. Or they might do it as a media, almost like a media function, where they might put together a set of clips, or slideshow, or maybe a video production. Hell, they might even write it into a rap. Let's see, then you got the Red Talons. They're going to howl it, and they're probably going to be very factual in how they view things. Striders are going to tell the tales in a various number of ways, because they are open and subjected to the most different forms, because they travel from sept to sept. Shadow Lords are going to tell dark and devious tales, usually at shadow moots and such, but they'll tell them pretty much anywhere. Usually there is an underlying message there, or sometimes there's an agenda involved the way they tell them. Silverfang go for pomp and circumstance. Stargazers will focus on little enigmatic parts. Octane and Wendigo, they're going to kind of tell it the same. A lot of times they use techniques that are very Native American origin, such as using a story blade, or other foci for the story themselves. Any group of them might actually use younger Guru to act it out. The key is not the story itself. The key is telling a good tale. It's making people remember it so that they actually understand what the moral of the story is, and to understand what was achieved. If they don't remember the story and they didn't learn anything from it, then it was pretty much a worthless tale. This can be done in a myriad of fashions. Galliards should know the history. Everybody thinks of Theurds when they think of lore keepers, but it should be the Galliards. If there's something you need to know about the Sept and the history of it, a Galliard should be able to tell you. If you need to know something about the region, a Galliard should be able to tell you. If you need to know how did that guy get his renown, a Galliard should be able to tell you. They should be fonts of information and wisdom and knowledge. That's not always the case, but usually we hope it is. Then there's the battle aspect of it. They tend to have a lot of support type gifts, inspirational type gifts, gifts that are going to give bonuses to their allies, gifts that are going to take away from their enemies. That should be part of their function. They should be doing that appropriately. Most people don't seem to understand what it is to be a Galliard. A lot of it depends on your game in general. If your game gives out renown based on the stories, well, then it's going to have to be very intricate, and it's going to have all the facts involved. Some games don't use temporary renown at all. I mean, I know of at least one out there. So if you're going to get renown, it's going to be based off a really good story. So if they tell a huge story of honor, you might get that one honor point. My game does it slightly differently. We record, the Galliards record the tales, the factuals parts, and what they do is that gives us everything that we will compare to the list that will show what renown was earned. Then at the moot, they can glamorize it, puff up the story however they want to tell it. Basically, they're going to tell it in the artistic form. It's almost like when they take artistic freedoms when they're converting a book into a movie. They can tell it that way, because that's how Galliards get some of their renown, is they tell a good story at a moot. They get their point across. They usually will focus on one thing. It might not be important that Mr. Arun over there ground through 54 Banes. In the story, it could just be a horde of Banes, a swarm of Banes. You don't have to have the numbers. You don't have to get every little detail that happened. You don't have to sit there and say, so-and-so earned this battle scar to give him this much renown. You can say something along the lines of, they were hurt grievously. That's how my game does it. I prefer to have the data so that we can convert it and get it on the sheets. And I prefer the stories at the moots to be told artistically because, frankly, we don't want them to get bored at the moots. We want them to enjoy them. We only do moots quarterly because they take up too much time and they take away from some of the gameplay sometimes. So we do them quarterly. We do them as big events. We do the 4 seasonal moots, and then occasionally we throw in a needed one somewhere. That doesn't include when we do tribal moots, because when we do tribal moots, not everybody's involved. We just pull the tribes in there. Like my next session, I'm running Lunasa for the Fianna and Rite of Long Remembrance for the Silver Fang. Last session was supposed to be Nazca Tin for the Wendigo. That's kind of a worthless rite, just like the Rite of the Worm Eaten for the Atena. It's kind of a worthless, really written rite. I don't like it at all. I mean, I've got Rite of the Open Claw coming up. I've got all these things. And I'm getting off base. Wow. Back to Galliards. So, the Galliards should focus in those directions. When it comes to where they should focus when it comes to skills, performance type skills, skills for teaching, skills for remembering lores, those are all big things. Rights wise, every Galliard should have gathered for their departed. Everyone should eventually get rid of accomplishment. They should get everything that involves renown, and even some of the mystic rites that are going to involve singing somebody's praises. the biggest thing about being a Galliard, you got to be able to talk to people. You got to be able to talk in front of people. If you can't do that, you probably want to play one of the other one of the other auspices, because you don't want to underdo a Galliard. People will remember if you underdo them. They won't remember if you Shatner it up and you actually overact and emote, but they will remember if you're bland and you're boring. I don't know what else to say at this point. I'm hoping these videos are helping people. I haven't gotten a whole lot of response from it. I mean, I've heard from some of my friends here in Florida. Heard from a guy in Italy. He was pretty cool, and heard from a few others who have given me some input. So if you got input or suggestions, please send them my way. At least then I know I'm reaching people with these. So take it easy, guys. Peace out.